Hello, welcome back to my channel. We're having playtime right now, so Casey, please play with something less noisy. I'm going to try to just keep going while she does this. Today we are going to be talking about fall palettes. I have, I think, 9. It's just really loud in here today. I have 9 palettes. Most of them are high-end. I have a couple drugstore ones. Some are like, you know, not necessarily fall palettes, but they would work for the fall, and I think you can get a lot of fall looks. I'm wearing a combination of 2 of them today on my eyes. Don't know how well it's coming across. Got my Nightmare Before Christmas shirt on, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you like this video while you're watching, make sure to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. I would love to have you come back for more videos. I'm going to be doing a couple of fall videos, so we're going to get to them. So I have 3 palettes from here, and I'm very thankful that some that I thought were discontinued are not discontinued. So the first palette I'm going to talk about today is the Maybelline Soda Pop palette. So this used to be available on Ulta, it is not anymore. However, it is still on Walmart.com and it is still on the Maybelline website. It was on sale for $5 on the Walmart website, but there were only a couple left. So if not, it is available for $11.99 on the Maybelline website. So here is what it looks like. It did release in fall, I think, of 2 years ago, so 2018. I really love this palette. There are a lot of amazing textures in here and just deep fall colors. You have your purples, a deep blue, a beautiful shimmery red, a orange, a shimmery orange, a lot of great stuff going on here. So you do get, not necessarily that I like this layout per se, because I don't see myself using the bigger pans more. I hate that. It does smell like grape soda, so that is something to keep in mind. The mattes are super smooth. Also, the shimmers feel more like a cream texture, especially your cream right here that is called Soda Fizz. It's going to be this shimmery silver color. And yeah, I really love this palette. I've hit pan on it, which I think it was one of the first eyeshadow palettes I hit pan on, so really would recommend this. So the next one I'm going to mention is the Revolution Emily Edit palette. This is the Once palette, so I did a video on this palette when it came out. I think it also came out in 2018. I don't remember. So this isn't necessarily a fall palette, but it definitely has some more fall tones. You know, I say this isn't necessarily a fall palette because I think there's 2 that did debut as like fall palettes, but they're kind of all-time palettes. So the thing that would make this more of a fall palette is you have some warmer, deeper pinks, some more reds, and the camera's not picking it up great, but you have some browns, some greens, some purples in here as well as a black. I don't typically use black shadow because it is very difficult to use, as well as some golds in here. I still stand by, I think this palette is great, not just because I do love Emily Noel, but because I think there is a lot of variety you can get with this. And I do think this is a palette that can work all year round. I just think that this is something particularly that I pulled out that I think fall, you really see some of that with like the warmer neutral shades as well. The next palette is kind of a like, I don't know how to consider this because it's like an all year palette. I tend to want to wear browns around this time of year. So this is going to be the e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow Palette in Cream and Sugar. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't use this all that often. I do think that these are a little overhyped. It's just not for me. I don't like doing the same thing all the time, so I don't know why I necessarily picked this up, but on a day where I'm just need to do my eyeshadow fast, this is an easy way to do it. Just use kind of the first two shades, or maybe this shade in the middle. The brown, I'm not a fan of this shade particularly, but I think another one that would work really well would be, there's one called Pumpkin Pie. That would be like the ideal one, but I don't own that. I just own Cream and Sugar, and I think kind of warm browns and stuff like that. Although this isn't that warm brown, I feel like this brown's a little cool, but I think browns and golds, I think. I have 2 from one brand, 3 from another, and 1 from that's by itself. So I want to start with the one by itself. This is going to be the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This has beautiful packaging. I did a review on this palette as well. I'm going to link all of that stuff when it dropped, I think in 2019. This is going to give you kind of the same vibes we're talking about. I don't know if it's necessarily like the black background that makes it look like everything is dark, but everything is kind of a more darker, smokier version of the color that it is. I definitely feel that way with the greens, these blues, and the purple in the middle. I need to play with this palette more, to be honest. I don't know what it is. Something about this palette is not drawing me. It's not the fact that these colors all look great. I think it's the fact that it is so dark. So if you want a darker, smokier look, this is a great palette to go for. That tends to not be the look I do, if you can't tell by my eyes right now. But I think this is giving you the fiery colors, this is giving you the browns, this is giving you the deep, smoky colors, and makes an overall really great fall palette. And A+ for packaging, because it looks like you're on vacation, you know, since you shouldn't be leaving your house. So then we're going to move on to, actually I'm going to leave this for last because that brand's a little bit more favorable. This is going to be the Too Faced section of this video. So I was able to find all of these places, which is great. I'm going to start with the one that's the hardest to find versus the 2 that are easier. So this is, I mentioned in my favorites video, it is the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum palette. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I talked about it extensively there. It's going to have your browns, your yellows, your deep maroon, burgundy reds. That's what's going on here. It has a scent of, it's definitely not the smell of rum, but it has like, kind of smells of whipped cream, to be honest. So that's that. And we have this one, which is the older of the other 2. So this is your Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. I think this is a great companion palette to the original Peachy, Just Peachy, whatever the palette is called, the peach palette, Sweet Peach palette. So I always love to pull this palette out for fall. Again, you have deep peach colors, you have your browns, very, very warm browns that are mixed with peaches. I think this palette is great. This is one of the ones I'm wearing on my eyes in combination with the other one. I think you get exactly what you need. Very good palette to do like the sunset eye with. There's berries in here. Not much like that I can say that's bad. Too Faced has a great matte formula, and this is really like one of the best Too Faced palettes that they've ever released. So if you don't have this one, I would definitely recommend you get this one, especially if you like this. And if you like to do all mattes, this is great. Me, I don't typically like to use all matte looks, so I have a companion palette with it. The last Too Faced palette I'm going to mention, which I've already brought up extensively, and I just did a video on it recently, is the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. So this is a palette that is specifically made for this time of year. It has oranges, it has berries, it has browns, it has greens, it has purples. Like I've said for all these palettes, because that's what I typically like. So yeah, this is good for that. I'm not going to go extensively in it. I'm wearing this in conjunction with the Peachy Mattes, so I'm just wearing the Oh My Gorge shade on the inner half of my lid, and then this pink color on the inner corner. This smells like the chocolate bar palette. Somebody says it does have a pumpkin spice scent. Mine smells like a chocolate bar palette. I don't know about y'all, but it does. And I like this palette, and I'm coming around that I'm really liking it more than I thought I initially did. So 2 more palettes left. I don't even know where it's sitting in relation to the camera, but here we go. These are both from Anastasia Beverly Hills. The first palette is limited edition, and it's available at Nordstrom, I think, and I think the Anastasia website. This is the ABH Jackie Aina palette, released. God, these all released like 2 years ago. When did this release? Last year? I don't know. Anyway, so this, yes, meow, I hear you. I'm not gonna repeat myself. I won't. But it does have a nice array. This is great for multiple skin tones. Obviously, Jackie Aina is black. It was made for darker skin tones to be able to wear all the shades. I really like this shade. I like most of these shades. The only shade that is a dud for me is Shookington. I did a video that got like no views on this. I can link it. I really didn't like this at first when I used this because I think I used Shookington and I had some blending and fallout issues that were claimed were not an issue, but I think it might be the Anastasia formula that I wasn't used to, because this is the first Anastasia palette I ever had. I know it's shocking because after like Naked, this became the sort of palette to use. So this white shade is actually a green reflect. I mostly use this pink, this purpley pink that's looking red on camera, and this shimmery red. I love that look, as well as the warm browns. But yeah, I get pretty good use out of this and would definitely recommend. And the last palette I am going to recommend is ABH. Yeah, okay, it is technically, because it's kind of a different collection. This is the Norvina Volume 3 palette. So this, if you want a purple palette, this is it, baby. There's obviously a lot more than just purple happening here. There's a lot going on, but your main focus of this palette is going to be your purples. It's funny how not like itself it shows up. So I'm going to try to put swatches for all of the palettes in. We'll see, because this is a massive palette. The shades are huge. I use this pretty frequently. There's a lot of berry, there's a lot of purple, which I've already said. There's some blues. I really like this mustardy yellow. I'm a very big fan of yellow now. So we have yellow, yellow, and a yellow. They're kind of randomly placed in my opinion. I really think the formula of this palette is incredible. This is probably my favorite formula that I have out of all of my palettes. This one is like the best quality palette, which makes sense. It is the most expensive palette, so if you want a little bit, you get to look at like my really nasty desk where I have my tissue and stuff that I'm wiping my hand off on. Okay, so if you want something that is definitely going to work, this is it. There are a lot of different color stories for the Norvina palettes. There's 4 now. Kind of want the 4th one, but this is the one I'm going to stick with. This is a pro palette, that's why it doesn't have shade names, it has numbers, and why it's so big and kind of like the inside is a little bit more plain, but this is one of my favorite palette purchases of the year. I bought it with a gift card because I usually don't buy $65 palettes, but I bought this one with the gift card, so this is definitely a splurge item. I mean, I know there's more expensive palettes. It is literally like an hour later because there was such an unprecedented amount of noise, and there is still noise because I live in New York, but normal noise. Anyway, I think I finished talking about the last palette was the ABH Norvina palette, so I'm pretty sure that's what I got to. So that is everything in this video. Let me know what palettes you're loving for fall, what palettes you recommend for fall, what's your favorite sort of look. I am going to be doing a Halloween look. That is going to be my last kind of makeup video for that, so stay tuned. If you like this video in all its noise glory, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I do 2 videos a week. I would love to have you subscribe and stick around. And other than that, I will see you in my next one. Bye.